Well, they're taking this orchard out. Some old variety, maybe trees too old to graft, probably wouldn't do well. I think they want to change the spacing and the irrigation and whatnot. And there's the rig that does it right there. So yep, they'll burn all this apple wood. Some of you guys could really use that in your smokers, couldn't you? Anyway, our next job here is about 3,100 trees. They've got them all pre-cut and the brush out of the way. We'll come in and make a final cut down below. We're going to stump these. That's what the guy wants. I don't really like to stump older trees. There's a lot of root system there. They push a lot of sap. When you get that initial flood of sap in the spring, when the soil warms up, once the soil gets 50 degrees, they start pushing a lot of sap. I worry that it will flood the grafts. The signs just sit there in that water and just sour rather than heal in. I've had that experience before. So knowing this, and knowing that the gentleman really wants to stump these because he just wants to train them differently, and he's willing to take the risk, and knowing this, I'm getting on them real early in the window. That's what I found over the years is if you stump big trees too late, then there's too much sap. If you get them with just as soon as the bark starts to slip, just as soon as it loosens up a little bit, then they seem to do okay. So I was going to come out here and chainsaw some of these down for Victor, but we discussed it this morning, and we don't normally chainsaw ahead of time, a couple days or so. We usually go right in that day and do our chainsaw work just ahead of the grafting. And we worry that if we cut them down too soon and then let them set, the bark might kind of tighten back up on them. So we're going to wait. Since it's Easter, we're taking off. We're going to take off about noon today. Give the crew the rest of the weekend off because we're fine on our schedule. So we decided not to cut these trees until we get over here, and he doesn't know exactly when that's going to be. So I came out here this morning. Instead of cutting trees, I'm going to pick up this sign wood. This is not nearly enough to do this job, but he's got lots. Anyway, I'm going to pick this sign wood up so it does not sit out here and bake in the sun, and I'm going to take it with me and take care of it. And there are pollinizer rows over here. There's some more wood over there by those pink flags. Those are pollinizer rows. The wood is all labeled, so we will keep it separate. We know which rows are what. The owner of this orchard is also the owner of the local nursery here. They grow about 1 million trees a year, and Pete and I have been friends for 35 years. Probably I've been doing his work. He always says, well, Ken, if we're both still around in the spring, we'll do this. He's 85 and still running things, still goes to work every day. Someone asked about rejection. This grafting thing, if it was like, if there was an issue with rejection, such as there is with grafting in the human body, and yeah, there is. There's incompatibility issues. There's some things you just can't put together. Okay, I'm gonna get this loaded up, and then I think I'm gonna go out and help Victor. I may go out and sharpen up my knives and poke in a few sticks. I have not put a graft in since year before last. I'm not sure I did any that year. It's been a while since I've hung on a grafting bucket. So that'd be kind of fun. A nice sunny day like this. Go strap on a bucket and slam in a few sticks. Somebody liked my comment the other day about how I've made a career out of sharpening sticks and poking them in trees. There's just a little bit more to it than that, but it's kind of fun to say it that way. All right, you guys get busy. Get this wood loaded. I do love the snow-capped mountains of Washington State, especially when the orchards are in full bloom in the valley floor, and the hills, the foothills are all green, and the snow-capped mountains in the background. Man, you just can't beat it. I can dig it. The variety we're going to be putting on here is Ambrosia. and a Granny Smith pollinizer. I think there's 4 rows of Ambrosia and then 1 row of Granny Smith. I think that's the pattern. He's got them flagged however he wants them, but Ambrosia happens to be my favorite apple. Unless you live in an apple growing region or have your own fruit trees, most of you will never experience eating a tree ripened fruit. And I was meeting with a client one time after harvest. He picked up an apple off the ground, the picker dropped or whatever. Anyway, if it's dropped, it's a call because it will bruise in storage. And he said, "Here, try this." And it was the best apple I've ever eaten. It was an Ambrosia, but they don't taste like the ones you get in the supermarket. When they pick them at harvest time, they pick them a little bit green so they can ship them to faraway places, and so they will keep for months and months. But to get a good ripe apple off the trees, it's a different animal. Okay, I think I am going to go see my friend Victor. And Ken lives up that canyon over there. Where I grew up, they have ridges and hollers. Around here they have mountains and canyons. Well, I was going to strap on a bucket and sharpen my knife, but Victor's only got 1 row left. And just about enough wood to finish it. Then we got to go over and do 50 trees in another spot, 51 signers. So instead of grafting, I'm going to count signs. This job I'm charging by the stick because they vary so much between trees. Some have 4, some have 8. So to be fair, we just charge by the graft. So I guess I better get busy. Got a little bit of walking to do. This guy we're working for right here, first time I worked for him several years ago, many years ago now. We just really hit it off. I think his people are from Arkansas or Missouri, and so we're kind of cut from the same cloth, and we've been good friends ever since. But a couple years ago, he was out here talking to Victor, and he speaks fluent Spanish. I speak enough to get down the road and get the grafting done, but I'd be lost if I had to go on vacation in Spain or somewhere. But he's pretty fluent. He's out here talking crap about me with Victor one time, asking him if I had a girlfriend, if I had a boyfriend, and all this stuff. Well, Victor comes and tells me what he's been saying about me, and I called him up and I said, "Hey, you might want to wait till you get your bill before you start talking smack about your grafter." he thought that was pretty funny. So he's a good guy. We joke around, have a good time. He's fun to work for. can always tell the difference between Granny Smith and any other kind of graft wood, because the Granny is green like the apples. This is Ambrosia. This is Granny Smith. Okay, it is 10 minutes till 12. These guys are going to be done in about another half hour of the trees that I cut down.
You have 3 new text messages.
Thank you. And I told Victor, pay these people for the whole day. And happy Easter. And I think they're pretty happy. We got a pretty good little crew, but it's a good one. Do you ever notice when you have a big crowd and a lot of people shows up, you have a little crowd, hardly anybody comes? So we got a little crew, but it's a good one. See ya.